Hello and welcome to our January 22nd, 2026 Rotary Rotary. I will start off today with the children. Thank you. Please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And the four-way test of the things we think, say, and do. First, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? And fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned? That's talking about. We got it down, but thank you. I think that you know it so well. The rest of us are stuttering and looking at this. All righty, our inspiration today is Tommy.
So Martin Luther King's holiday was Monday, and I have a few words you'll all be surprised about this quote. If a man is called to be a street sweeper, he should sweep streets, even as Michelangelo painted, or Beethoven composed music, or Shakespeare wrote poetry. He should sweep streets so well that all the hosts of heaven and earth will pause to say, "Here lived a great street sweeps." Who did his job well. So, and then darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that.
Okay. Brett's been our great greeter, so let me check with him to see if indeed we sold all our cards. Oh, we've got some cards left, so dig in your pockets, 5 cards. You've got dollars left dangling in your pockets unspent. We would love to have you buy some for our 50-50 drawing. At the end, the money is divided between the winner and the club. So great. Couple of announcements. I'm going to learn to get these very short, or we may be moving into the end. We'll see. Food bank. We continue to say bring in food. I talked yesterday at the food bank. They said they're going to do another big push in March, just before spring break, because our club is kind of bringing in things for kids. In other words, we're bringing in things that can be taken home over the break to help feed kids who need some extra food in the house. So keep bringing those in, and in March, we'll bring it back and do a great big push again. Today is our Shoes That Fit. So we will be meeting at Banner Bank in the back, parking in the bank, back of the bank, 1:30 at the latest 1:45 to drive out to Illinois Valley. So that should be a great event. Looking forward to being there myself, and many of the Rotarians join us. So there we go. Super Bowl party. Our Super Bowl party is February 8th. If you brought money to buy a spot on the drawing, Greg is not here right now, but he wanted to let us know that there are 16 spots left at $25 a piece. And when you pay for the 25, your money goes to the foundation, Road Foundation. So you get credit for every Rotarian every year, which is part of the reason that we do this, is because we want to have everybody give and have the option of paying and being a part of the Rotarian Foundation. So if you're interested in buying that, what you need to do is talk to Kelly or Jan. I think Jan's collecting. I just saw an email this morning that Greg wasn't going to be here. I thought somebody said they would collect checks or cash for anybody who wanted to support. Okay. Okay, so she is taking that money. She's going to write down the order that you give her the money, and that way she'll fill up those spots in the order the money was given to her for the 16 that are left. It's going to be a great time. It always is. That's on February 8th. That's on February 8th, Super Bowl Sunday. The doors open at 3. There'll be lots of door prizes, and there's lots of fun, whether you love football or not. I would suggest you bring a soft seat to the chairs. That's the only thing I've heard. The problem is they use folding chairs, so it's a long game. You might want to bring something to soften it. So that is, it's a potluck. Bring families, friends, everybody. Book club is this Friday at 5 o'clock at Pat Babb's house, and you can go online. I think you find that. What's the street number, address? Okay, I knew it was on Hudson, 150, just remember that. It's in my navigation system. Okay, let's see, I have a sign up sheet for people who want to go to Candela Dance on Thursday, next Thursday at the 29th, 5:30 to 7:30 at Candela Dance Studio. We're just doing it for fun. It's $10. So I have a sign up. I might send around so we know who's going. Let's see, we've got some other ones going on here. Come on down and tell us your announcements. I think I'm getting them all in there, and then we will welcome our agenda.
Hi, my name is Mary, and I'm going to give you a brief announcement on the Porch Fest fundraising. Before I do that, I want to say thank you to this club. As we look at materials that are coming together, this club has contributed to the Porch Fest activity event $160,000 to our youth nonprofits. That is just huge, huge. But you deserve a thank you. And not everything has a monetary value or price, but thank you for your presence. The presence you bring to these events, to this club, and you're creating memories and bringing community closer together. When is Porch Fest? It's going to be the third Saturday in June 20th from 11 to 3. You'll hear more about it. We're going to need volunteers to do various things. What can you do now? Two things. We continue to build a prospect list, new prospects for the coming year, even for this year. Please feel free to contact me, email me, or call, text, whatever. If you have prospects, if you're sitting in this room and you want to sponsor Porch Fest, please reach out. And thank you very much for your presence.
For your presence and bring us presents. As in money. Two really quick announcements, and one is reiterating actually what was just said. Pat Bass tomorrow is hosting our Gateway Rotary Reads, and it's a Tariff Schmeriff, a satire beyond country boundaries, which it's good for us to laugh during times where it's hard to be otherwise. So anyway, so do come if you can. It was a fun book, and we'll figure out the next book. And then the other thing, I'm going to pass around this roster. If you recall last year, Kathy Krause and Marty Zatola did a sort of a world religions, comparative religions workshop here. And many people wanted to kind of know more. They both have been professors that have taught world religions for a number of years. So they're going to do it on February the 12th after this meeting at 1:30 in the afternoon, right after. And we're just going to cross the street and we have a room at Valor Guys. So I'm passing this around. If you're interested, please sign in.
Okay, and I don't want to forget, because we do have some visiting Rotarians, and some non-Rotarian guests that I want to acknowledge. John Schiavone, who we always love to see, is here from the Friday Club, and we have Kelly Taylor, who is visiting from the Rogue Valley After 5 Club in Medford. So thank you for joining us, and we hope you'll enjoy the show. Always, and it's nice to have you here. And the non-Rotarian guests who we are hoping will become members and enjoy the time is Tackett Austin, who I saw Tackett over there at Tackett. Austin and Tony Richardson, there with Kelly. So thank you for joining us again. Yes. And Tammy is here too. She did, and I'd say hello when you came in, but Tammy is here as well. And they're actually related cousins. So yeah, so there we go. It's all in the family, right? Yeah, I'd like to show off a good thing. So that's great. Okay, so I think we've done everything we need to do on my list. And so with that, I am going to have Tommy come up and introduce our program to us today. And she is also here today. Victoria, I remember that name, my sister's name. So Victoria is going to come up to speak with us, and I will have Tommy introduce her. Well, hey, I guess I can talk a little bit longer, but you can start to talk. This is actually an interesting one for me. She's coming from the DHS, and she's here to talk about foster families. And, as a school teacher, for 30 years in Rosarito County and 25 years at Lincoln. I tell you, what they do is amazing, and what the needs in our community are unfortunately very high. So I welcome you, and I'll let Tommy introduce you.
Okay, so this is Victoria Lopez-Garrett, and she's at Social Services and works with adoption and children in need. She was a therapeutic behavioral support for teens in Nevada. And before that, she was in California. So anyway, she's going to talk to us about what she does today, and there she is.
Hi, thank you for having me. Rotary has a special place in my heart to begin with. I grew up in the suburbs of LA in California in a small city of Covina, LA County, and in June of 2001, when I graduated high school, I actually won a scholarship from the Covina Rotary Club that helped pay for my books. I didn't actually have to buy books to my undergrad study all 4 years thanks to the Rotary Club, so it's something that stuck with me. But yes, my name is Victoria Lopez-Garrett. My title with DHS Child Welfare is Social Service Specialist. I am actually the adoption worker for Josephine County. And I am part of the foster care certification unit. And that's why I'm here today to talk to you all about the needs of the community for foster parents and respite parents and just other ways that anyone in this room or anyone in our community can help support the kids in care. At any given moment, there are almost 250 children in Josephine County that are in foster care every day. And we have a very high need. Kids come into care for a number of different reasons. It's through child abuse, which can be like exposure to drug use, neglect, physical abuse, you name it. And we are in dire need of foster homes. We have a program. We have two separate programs for being a foster parent. One of them is for relatives. So if you have like a niece, a grandchild, a cousin who comes into care, we always want to try to find family for that child to go to. My mom, a side note, my mom was actually adopted, and it was because the neighbor stepped up and took the neighbor, who I call her my grandma, stepped up and took my mom in. And so another reason why this cause is close to my heart. But we also are in really big need of what we call general foster parents, which are people that are wanting to be foster parents just out of the kindness of their heart and wanting to provide a safe space for kids in need. We have children between the ages of 0 to 20, although usually by the time they're 18, they're ready to move on their own. But if you don't, like, the biggest barrier that we see is just trying to find families that are wanting to work with DHS and to welcome kids into their home. I was, as she introduced me, I was a therapeutic foster parent in Las Vegas, Nevada. I specialized in teen boys with the juvenile justice system. So once they got out of juvie, they came to my house, and hopefully I got them set on the right path. Which is now, it's funny because now God gave me 2 daughters. So I spent 10 years raising boys, and now I have 2 daughters. So there's that. But yeah, so we have a program for foster parents where you go through a home study. You could be single, you could be married, you could be in a domestic partnership, cohabitating, what have you. And we just do a background check to make sure that there's nothing like in your background that would endanger kids. And then you do a home study. So someone like me would come out to your house and just basically talk to you, learn about you. And the end product is what's called a home study, which is about a 20-page biography on you and your spouse. And everything from your childhood to what you guys are like as parents, or what you would be as parents, grandparents, uncles, what have you. And it's not a secret, you get to read it, and then we try to match you. And so, like, my specialty when I was a foster parent was teen boys. I don't like junior high kids, I'll tell you right now. Which is funny, my daughter's about to go into junior high in the fall at North Middle School. But like, I specialized in teenagers. So my preference in Nevada was I worked with 15 to 18-year-old boys. I like that. We have plenty of foster parents who love the itty bitties. Like, we have foster parents who specialize in 0 to 2 because they like the cuddles, which to me sounds like horrible because I want to sleep at night. I'll take people yelling at me all day long, but I want to sleep at night. And then we have other foster parents who just like the elementary school age kids, because they like doing arts and crafts. Again, not my cup of tea. I'll go to sporting events instead. But we just have a really high need of people wanting to help kids. We also have this really neat program for what's called respite. As anyone who's a parent knows, sometimes you just need a break. You just need a break. Right now I have one of my kids are at home and I need a break. And so when Tommy reminded me, oh, you're speaking at noon, I was like, I had to talk to grown-ups for a change today. But we have a program called Certified Respite where you are background checked, we interview you, and then you're kind of like not a babysitter, but like a fill-in caregiver. So when I was a foster parent, I worked for Clark County DFS is what they call it in Las Vegas. And they encourage for burnout that I take 1 weekend a month to myself. Usually I mean, it's Las Vegas, there's plenty of hotel rooms there, but so you can recharge and stuff. And our foster parents here need the same thing. You know, maybe they have an emergency and they need to go visit family in Eugene or go down to California. But what do you do with the foster kids who are replacing your home? Well, we don't want to send them to just anybody, so we have a respite program where you're background checked and you can, like, those kids will be sent to your home. So I'll use my husband's name as an example. So if I had like a family emergency and I had to go back home to LA, but I had 2 foster kids in my care, I could call Gerald and be like, Gerald, like, I know you're background checked and all that. Would you mind watching Brianna and Susie, my daughters, Brianna and Susie for this weekend? And if you're available this weekend, that's great. And DHS actually pays the respite providers. So it's for respite, we pay $90 a day per kid. So Gerald taking Brianna and Susie would get paid $90 a calendar day for watching them. And that way then DHS knows they're with safe people. The kids know they're with safe people. And it's just a way to provide that help and assistance to foster parents. So you're not a full-time foster parent, but you're there and able to help out when you can. And of course, as a respite provider, you also get to set your age and like needs and stuff like that. Like I said, me personally, I do great with teenagers, but like the itty bitties who are like screaming and, you know, like, or even hurting animals, not my thing. You know, so that's not my wheelhouse, but other people may like that. Maybe people like the little toddlers because they're cute and watch Sesame Street, what have you. And so you get to set that in that way, then you're actually helping both the kids and the foster parents. And it helps us keep our foster parents around longer so they don't get burned out. Like I said, as you know, as a parent myself, I have no family here in Oregon. So like if I had someone to watch my kids when I needed a break, that would be a good benefit too. So like I said, there's different ways. We also have 2 organizations here in Grants Pass that help DHS in other ways. One of them is called Our Foster Kids, Inc. And they do fundraisers throughout the year, and they're the ones who get us our Christmas presents for our kids every year. I don't know if you guys have seen it on the news when the Justin County sheriffs come and they arrested the Grinch at the DHS office this past December. It was pretty funny. And then we also have Every Child, which they collect clothes and stuff like that. So I have a background as CPS worker, so I've been that worker that's got called out at midnight because there's an unsafe situation, and I've had to remove kids like 1 a.m., 2 a.m. And these kids are literally coming into foster care with nothing but the clothes on their back. And Every Child collects clothes and stuff. So then when kids come into foster care, we can try to alleviate that need. So we have a clothing closet for teens and we have a clothing closet for younger kiddos. And so they can get toys and stuffies and blankets and jackets and anything that they need in order to make that transition possible. And so we're always looking for helpers like that. We have this wonderful lady here in town who sews burp cloths. Like we have a box of burp cloths and they're so cute, but any little thing can help. But I brought some flyers. I also brought a business card because some people may not be ready to be foster parents full time, but maybe you can watch a 2-year-old for a weekend. 2-year-olds are cute. Yeah, especially the potty trained. But so there's a number of different ways to help. Like I said, we average between 250 to 300 foster kids in Justin County alone. Jackson County, their numbers are even higher. Their numbers are closer to 500 because it's a much bigger county. And of course, our counties are connected and we try to help out as we can. My specialty is also adoption. We have currently in the state of Oregon, we have about 65 kids that currently have no legal parents except for the state of Oregon that are looking for their forever families that have been legally free for adoption. And part of my job is to find and recruit people who want to adopt children out of the foster care system. We have kids that are as young as 1 year old that have no one in their lives that want to adopt them, all the way up to teenagers that are just looking for someone to help get them on their way to adulthood. But there's, like I said, there's a myriad of ways that you can help DHS, and I'm here to answer any questions you may have. I know we have a couple of CASAs that I've actually worked with a few years ago. And that's another great organization. CASA is like an extra support person. So when a child enters foster care, they have their caseworker who works with the child and the parents trying to make them safe. Then you have me as a foster home certifier licensing that work with the foster parents. And then we also have people like the one for Josephine County that does adoption. Whereas CASA is another great way to get involved too, where you're just like an extra support person and trying to be a voice for the kids who have had their voice taken, whether that's through abuse or just being through the system, because going through the legal system is rough no matter what your age or however many experiences you have. So I just want to open this up in case anyone has any questions about the process or different options of getting involved. Yes, ma'am.
You have a runner here.
Thank you. One of the things that I discovered this year, because I had some young people coming up to work up my place, is what happens to the kids that leave the foster care. There was a young man who obviously hadn't received any real positive energy in the 15 years he was in foster care. He was adopted when he was 3 years old. He turned 18, his money stopped. His foster parents said, "We're not getting any money anymore for you, you're gone." He had no money, no place to live. Someone in the group that the youngsters were in where I met him, was able to find him a bed in the Gospel Rescue Mission. And it broke my heart because how many of these kids are ending up on the street homeless? And what can be done to help those kids be able to enter? I mean, they have no resources, but they also have no skills for surviving in the mainstream society. So it's an issue, and I'm wondering if anybody is actually thinking about this and trying to address it, because it seems to me like it could be pretty serious.
Yeah, like I said, I've worked in the foster care services agency in California, Nevada, and Oregon. And I specialize in teenagers, and that is definitely an issue that's been historically decades long. You hear the term aging out, and basically if you're in foster care, you turn 18, they would boot you out of the system. And I know in Las Vegas, when I worked with the teens, we would see that a lot. Like you're just left without skills, you end up at some place like the Gospel Rescue Mission. That does great work, but that's not training you to live. Here in Oregon, we have a program called the Independent Living Program. Now, mind you, it's government education, so we love our acronyms. So it's ILP, the Independent Living Program. And you have teens, as soon as they turn 14 in the state of Oregon, they have to be referred, if they're 14 and in foster care, they have to be referred to the Independent Living Program. Our Independent Living Program here in Josephine County is run through Hearts with a Mission. They have a couple of satellite homes here in Grants Pass, one up near Hillcrest Drive. It's actually right by where I live. And they also have a larger place in Medford. Independent Living Program is supposed to assist kids from ages 14 to 22, or the year in which they turn 22. And it's to teach them budgeting, help them get their driver's license. Here in Grants Pass, they work a lot with Project Youth Plus to help them get, if they're behind in school. A lot of times teenagers in foster care fall behind academically, and you get a higher dropout rate significantly over kids in the foster care system than those that are able to be with family. So that ILP program is designed to help them start budgeting. They also have access to what's called a Chafee grant, which is a nationwide program that helps set them up with cost of living It helps them get an apartment and sets them up and they do skills training through RCC here in Grants Pass. They also have a program that helps get them into SOU if they want to. I know Lane County works closely with Lane County Community College and the University of Oregon, but down here we have SOU. And so that's relatively new. I think that's only been around for like 20 years. Unfortunately, what you have is kids, young adults who have been traumatized by the system and unfortunately been adopted into a family that would kick them out once that financial piece is taken away. That's an ongoing issue, but I will say if there is a young person who ages out and turns 18 and stuff, they can actually self-refer themselves to DHS and get access to that independent living program. And if they're under the age of 22, but over the age of 18, they can self-refer themselves. And we actually have a worker at our Grants Pass office. Her name is Lila Wade. And I can always get you her information. And she actually works with our young adults between the ages of 17 and 22. She tries to catch them a little before then, and gets them signed up. And like I said, it gets them apartments, subsidized apartments, not just like HUD, but actual subsidized apartments. And they actually get a living stipend, like a monthly allowance that they get for 12 months. And then it tapers off for another 12 months. So it's again, not like an immediate cutoff. But it is a very real need and why we are always in need of foster homes that aren't going to just kick the kids out. That being said, for foster parents, there is that financial piece. In Oregon, it's based on the kid's needs. So if you have an average kid who doesn't have any escalated needs, it has like the needs of like an average kid, not in foster care. A foster parent will get $958 a month if their ages 0 to 5, $963 a month ages 6 to 12, and $1,022 a month for kids ages 13 to 20. And then there's additional stipends. So if you have a kid, I'll use my daughter's name. So if you have a kid named Brianna and she's 15 and she has a history of self-harm and you have to watch her because she's always trying to like cut herself or OD on prescription medication, well, that takes a lot more eyes on supervision. And so therefore DHS works with a mental health provider, usually through Options of Southern Oregon or Phoenix Counseling in Medford. And you get an additional stipend because you're having to invest more time and take extra precautions in your house. Now that foster care payment continues until they're 20 if they are still in the foster care system. If a child is adopted or enters into a guardianship with the foster parent, then that's my purview and we can help get that money until they turn 22. But again, that also doesn't negate the child or young adult's access to that independent living program. So there are safety nets, but historically that has been an issue that I know that at least 3 states that I've worked in are trying to address. Sorry, and I talk really fast, so.
Why would it be that a child comes to you?
Yeah, we've got to run on
Why would it be that a child comes to you with absolutely no clothes and no things? You said that you had to give them clothing and.
It's because of abuse. The only reason why a child will enter the foster care system is if they have been a victim of abuse. There are many types of abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse, neglect. Like when I was a CPS worker, I removed a kid. He was 14 years old and weighed 65 pounds because his parents weren't feeding him. And so when I removed him from the house and the parents were like, not in so many words, said, screw you, we're done, and kicked him out and literally didn't allow him to get anything from his house. But if we're doing a removal, like I've been on a removal up in Wolf Creek, the house is unsafe and unsanitary. We may not want the clothes there if it's a problem. Like I've been in houses where they've been manufacturing fentanyl and heroin and there's a rat infestation. We don't want that stuff. We don't need to bring that into a foster home. And it just really depends. Of course, then there's other times kids do come with some things. And of course, part of the DHS caseworker's job is to help rehabilitate the biological parents, because ideally all kids will be returned back to their biological parents. If those biological parents can continue their progress and complete all the services in order to make them a single parent, and that includes their home too.
Hi, thank you for what you're doing. I was looking for a halo. Another retired educator here, and I worked with much of this. And several of us are familiar with this, but my question to you is, and Cindy from WCST, I'm on board of Women's Crisis as well. And I wonder if we get clothes, a lot of clothing, and we have two big clothing fairs, and there's a lot that is available for teenagers through adults. And we end up having more than we need. So I'm wondering, does DHS try to partner with WCST?
So we have I'm sure Cindy will know this name. Her name is Frocka Sandys. She is our liaison through DHS and she works with WCST. So like when you have the clothing fair down at the Bear Hotel and stuff, she lets our caseworkers know. And so like the caseworkers wouldn't necessarily let the foster parents know for the kids because DHS has funds to buy the kids clothes, but definitely the caseworkers work with WCST through Frocka Sandys in order to help the parents who are trying to improve their lives and like go there to the clothing fair and stuff like that. That said, we do take donations of clothes and toys, not car seats, like stuff we can't take, but we definitely take out clothes. So like when my kids are 9 and 10, when they cleaned out their clothes, because they were getting new winter clothes and stuff, I packed up all their clothes and I just brought them to DHS. And if they go into our clothing closet, the DHS Child Welfare Office is also connected to self-sufficiency, otherwise known as the food stamp office. And we have a table in our shared lobby. So if there are shoes that maybe our teens may not wear, maybe they're like an older style or what my kids call mama style of clothes, then we put them out there for those people to use too. Since we share a building, but we do try to partner with other agencies and we know very well what WCST can do.
Yeah, thank you for everything you do. I just want to let everybody know that there are some real nice stories where things happen in reunification. We see parents who've decided to change their lives and the kids are there. So it's not all bad stuff. There's actually some really good stuff that happens.
I have two questions. My first one is how often, like Jim said, how often do the kids go back to their bio parents in foster care that they do?
So first of all, about 95%.
They go back to their bio parents?
Yes, between 90 to 95%. Yeah, and I'm talking about this as the adoption worker for Chesapeake County. The goal of DHS is always for me not to have a job, which is fine, that's the goal. So when a child first enters foster care, the primary plan is always reunification. DHS never takes the child, removes the child from their parents and says, we're done. We're gonna go to adoption, you're never gonna see your kid again. There's a federal law called the Adoption and Safe Families Act, or ASPA. Like I said, I'm a prior educator, so we love acronyms. And so the primary plan is always reunification. That federal law mandates that a biological parent or parents, because they can do it singly or together, it really depends on whatever parent gets their act together the soonest. The biological parents have on average between 12 to 18 months to ameliorate or get all the safety concerns addressed. When a child is taken into foster care, we have a court hearing where the state has to prove, one, why we have to take the kid into the home, usually like show proof of the abuse that happened in the home. And second of all, what the parent needs to do in order to get their children back. So again, use my husband's name. So if Gerald had his daughters, Brianna and Susie, removed from his care, he would then be working with his assigned caseworker on average between 12 to 18 months in order to complete all the services that the court ordered him to do. If Gerald's been using drugs, we're gonna mandate and make the court order him to go do drug treatment, like out of DAP or choices through options. We can also mandate the parents to do parenting classes. We have parent mentors through options. We also have other parenting programs through the Family Nurturing Center. And there's usually a list of things. If they need mental health services, which normally if you have your kids taken into foster care, you could probably benefit from mental health services and counseling. So the biological parent has 12 to 18 months in order to make progress doing that. Doesn't mean they have to complete everything by 18 months, but you have to be showing you're doing everything. If at that 18-month mark, the parents have basically said, I'm not doing anything, I'd rather be doing fentanyl at Riverside Park, then that's when I come into the picture and we start moving towards, and we have that backup plan. So the primary plan is reunification. The secondary plan is usually adoption or guardianship. And around that 18-month mark, if the parents haven't done diddly squat, basically, then we go to court and DHS asks the court to flip it. So then the primary plan is adoption or guardianship, but that caseworker still needs to be looking at reunification up until the very last minute. When I was a caseworker, like I said, my specialty is in adoption. I had a parent who had her 3 children removed in 2016. 2018 comes around, I get the case, I just moved here to Oregon, I get the case and I'm like, dude, like, we're done. You haven't done anything, you continue to do drugs. Here is the paperwork. I'm going to terminate your parental rights to all 3 of your kids, which means you legally do not have kids. That was actually the wake-up call she needed. She checked herself into the mom's program in Medford, got the program, came back here to Grants Pass. I was able to get her into safe and sober housing, all the while I'm doing the court work to terminate her parental rights. Then I got to go to court 6 months later and say, hold it, we're withdrawing this petition. She now has all of her kids back. And she's had her kids, and her case has been closed for the past 3 years. And it's been amazing. But yes, so about 90 to 95% of all DHS cases go back to reunification with the parent. And those are the best stories. Like I said, I don't want to have a job, but my job as an adoption worker is for those kids where the parents just cannot do it. And then you have to put what the kids' needs first. And that's usually with relatives who want to adopt, or the current foster parents can adopt. So
My second question was, oh, there's probably somebody up there, but that wants to have a question. But okay. The other one is, what are the ages of the kids that are up for adoption? You said how many were in Grants Pass were up for adoption?
I can't tell you exactly the number of Grants Pass, but statewide, there's usually about 60 kids right now looking for adoption, and they are between the ages right now. The youngest one is 1 year old. He's about 14 months old, all the way up until 18.
So is there a big percentage of teens looking for adoption?
Yes and no.
Oh, okay.
What happens is the statewide number of those kids who are waiting for their adoptive family are usually ones where the current foster parents or the current relative foster parents just can't, for whatever reasons, adopt that child. So therefore, we're trying to reach out strangers who are not connected to that child in order for adoption. If you are a foster parent and you've raised a kid from 6 months old and now they're 2 and you want to adopt, that's an easy one. But being like a Joe Schmo off the street and trying and looking and seeing if you want to adopt a 16-year-old who's been in foster care for 7 years, that comes with a lot more baggage. And so those kids unfortunately tend to wait for their adoptive families a lot more than the cute toddlers who may not have all of that trauma and all of that like emotional baggage that our teens unfortunately have.
All right, I know Kelly Gonzalez online has something. I don't know if you can.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, good. Hi, everybody. I just wanted to give kind of a testimonial of sorts, I suppose. When I lived in Medford, I was a foster parent for a year and had 3 little sisters, and I can just attest to the value of respite volunteers or workers or whatever you call them. And so I appreciate you coming and presenting today. And if anybody's in this room who can be a respite person for foster parents, they are invaluable. That's all I wanted to say. Thanks.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Okay, when you're CASA, we get to go into the homes, not only of the parents, but the foster parents and the respite parents. And I cannot tell you how valuable these respite parents are. Because sometimes when they're in the foster home, the foster parents have their own children, their own biological children, and they need to spend time with those kids. So that they can reconnect with those, because most of their time is spent with the foster kids. And so the respite really helps keep these foster parents connected with their families, and they can go off and take trips. There's a couple other things that happen with foster parents and respite parents that no one really talks about. I know you probably know about it, but the state of Oregon has a program with the Parks Department. And if you are a foster parent or a respite parent, you can get free passes to the state parks to take these kids camping. And do those sort of activities with these kids that have never had it before. And that's a really valuable tool for these kids. And then you wonder, yeah, there's, 95% of these kids get reunified with their families. And we've actually seen it. We've had three separate kids, three separate families who their children have been reunificated with their parent. And the kids are now back living with their parent. The parent is doing what they're supposed to do. And when you hear about all the services that they have to go through, it takes 18 months to almost 2 years sometimes for these parents to go through every single step that the state is asking them to go through. And is it successful? Yes, it is, because in one of our cases that we have seen such a dramatic change in the parent. It is unbelievable. And yes, these programs work, and the system is working for these kids and these families.
It's wonderful to hear.
One more thing about respite. Sometimes a parent who's working on recovery needs a night off. Just one night. So respite becomes really, really important for them. They just need a break because they're doing all this stuff and they get overwhelmed. So.
And just date night.
Yeah.
A hot meal, my husband was bringing up Valentine's Day and I looked at him, I'm like, okay, you want to go to Los Taquitos for lunch, not have the time. But what's really cool about respite is it's a lot less commitment, but your impact is still great. So in order to be a foster parent, I would come to you with, I'm not kidding you, a 12-page application. Then I will make you do background checks, go to Speedy Pack and Ship over by Grants Pass Toyota, get some Little Caesars, do the background check, and then I'm going to interview you about your entire life. Like I said, I will talk to you about your childhood, your adulthood, your education, your marriage, lack of marriage. As someone who's been divorced myself, I got to talk about that too. I did the same home study in Nevada. And it's a big process. And then you're accepting the kid in. Respite is a lot shorter. Respite, there is a 4-page application. We like to cut down trees at the state. Then it is a 2-page write-up and a 2-hour training. Rather than the 30-hour training I think my foster and adoptive families go to, it's a 2-hour training. And you get to take kids when you want. When I was a foster parent, in Nevada, I had kids for I did teen boys, so I had kids for like 12 months was the shortest amount of time I had a kid. I had kids I had for like 4 years because they were going to age out of the system. And so I was basically their parent, for lack of a better word. But with the respite, it's a lot shorter commitment. And it's not like your name is plastered out, statewide. It's not put on Facebook or anything like that. Your name and phone number is on the list that we only give to other foster parents and caseworkers. So I would be like, okay, well, Jolene, I have an emergency. Me and Gerald, we have to go down to Las Vegas for a funeral. Can you watch Brianna and Susie this weekend? Pick them up from school. They go to Lincoln Elementary, pick them up from school, and then we'll be back Sunday night. Yeah, that's it. I'll do it. Don't hit me. Like I said, a sick kid makes for a long night. So it's a lot less commitment, and I always encourage respite as like a stepping into working with the state. When I signed up to be a foster parent in Nevada, I had no idea what I was getting into. Honestly, I didn't know I was going to talk about my childhood. I like talking about how I won the Rotary scholarship, but it was a lot of work. And then they literally dumped 6 kids into my house on day 1. That is a lot. It's Nevada. We don't do that here. Oregon's a little better than that. But with respite, you get to pick and choose. Like I said, and you still get to pick your age range and your time. So I'd be like, okay, Jolene, I'm looking for respite. And go I can't do it this weekend. I'm sorry. Okay, well then I'll call the next person on the list. And you also have your certifier, your licensing worker to help you make those phone calls. But it's completely on your schedule. And you know that you're only talking to people who have background checked and are good upstanding people. You're not gonna have like randos off the street calling you too. So it's kind of a nice way to see how DHS works and kind of get a feel of the whole process too, in a lot less committal way. That's a lot less than accepting a kiddo to your home for the next 12 to 18 months.
Last question, is there age restrictions for fostering children?
No.
Okay.
We don't discriminate based on anything. In fact, we have foster parents that are in their 70s. And they are great because a lot of our kids may not have ever had grandparents in their life and they get to fill that role. So there is no age limit, except you do have to be over the age of 18. If you're 18 to 21, I just have to do an extra background check on you and like really make sure you're ready for it. But other than that, there's no age restrictions.
Well, thank you, Victoria. Wow. Very, very important work. Sure. So thank you for what you do. And yeah, I think, I mean, it's hard and we all get it. I mean, we know how hard parenting was and we know how tired we got. So we would have liked some respite more often than we got it. But we can certainly understand how important it is for some of these parents. So I think that's a great way to step into the program and see what we can do to help. I was at the Chamber of Commerce and somebody visited from a foster program saying they were needing deodorant. And I thought that was the funniest thing. I don't know whether they just come to the Chamber of Commerce or they bring it up to the chamber, but they were saying that they had a lot of stinky teenagers and they were really in need of deodorant. And I thought that was hilarious. Anyway, I think I have we're ready for Sergeant of Arms, and that's you, Kelly. And I will give you your paper so that you don't, you know what you're gonna say. Not that I don't know that you would find something to say. You talk together.
Yes, we know each other quite well. Well, first of all, Bev, is it you that I'm gonna give this new application to join Rotary to, because Tony is.
Sure, that's great.
Okay, and, yay. So we are actually changing, how we do our Sergeant at Arms a little bit. And the reason for that is time. Because we want our presenters to feel like they have enough time and we don't, we feel like some of us, including myself, tend to go into a saga for what we're going to do for Sergeant at Arms. Not me. So today I've decided I'm going to start right out with, I'm giving $10 today out of gratitude. And there are 10 things that I am really grateful for. So $1 for each one of them. And so my first one is I am grateful for eyes that allow me to see the world's beauty. Now, background, of course I am happy about that, but I had cataract surgery just recently, and holy smokes, what a miracle. This is, I mean, all of a sudden I actually see all of you. I am grateful for our libraries that allow us to learn, no matter how old or how young you are. I am grateful for access to food, to clean water, and a home that's got heat and light. And I was out feeding this morning to our homeless contingent with Tommy. They don't have these things. It's really apparent. So I'm grateful for those things. I'm grateful. One of my favorite things to do is a walk in the forest, alone or with friends. I'm grateful to watch, this may just be me, the first snowfall. I'm still waiting.
Go to the south, go to the south, you're gonna have this.
All right. I'm grateful for the feeling that you get when you help somebody. I'm grateful when I see a puppy on the street. It could be on a walk or anywhere. I'm grateful for the freedom to speak my mind. I'm grateful for music that opens you up and me to all kinds of feelings and memories. And I'm grateful, this is my 10th one, for amazing friends, well, family in our Rotary. So I want you to think about what you're grateful for, because right now it's happy bucks and sad bucks. And it's time for you to raise your hand for what you're grateful for, to join my happy bucks. Okay. And she's off.
I'm grateful that in my life, I've been able to travel around the world, see other cultures, meet people. I'm sad a little today because a friend of mine, Randy Freeman, died on Saturday or Sunday. Fortunately, it appears that it was a natural death, but a little sad.
I'm gonna tell you my happy things for what we have in our community to go out. I forgot to put under your announcements. I can think of amazing things. But first of all, today at 1:30, we are going out and doing wonderful things in the Illinois Valley by using Shoes That Fit. At 5:30 this evening, Lois McMillan is doing her presentation on the 250th anniversary of our country, and she's just done this great, awesome program. She's an amazing person. And then after that, I'm excited because I'm gonna go to the Hearth, which our Steve Rowe has put together. So we just have so many amazing things in our community. So that's what I'm grateful for.
Since I have the mic, I wanted to also mention the Hearth tonight. So I have happy books for that and just today's program.
I'm grateful for friends, and I'm actually very grateful for my friend Kelly, who brought me Jewish penicillin. I'm under the weather for a few weeks, and she brought me some of her special Jewish penicillin, and I swear it helped. It's Jewish chicken soup. I'm grateful that Steve and I have survived living together for 58 years, and we'll be celebrating our anniversary on January the 27th. 58 bucks for that.
I'm grateful for the ballet that we had the other night in Ashland. The people from Kiev in Ukraine were the dancers. It was amazing, absolutely amazing. Was anybody else there? You blew it.
I'm thankful that we have an adopted son, and he's doing well. He had his moments, but we adopted him when he was 4, and he's gonna be all right.
I've got happy about $10. In the middle of the high school internship construction program and some oops, we're not quite following all the rules we're supposed to be following. Sort of stuff has been flying around the last day or two at me. I'm notorious for not following rules and stuff. But it's really nice to have the 4 or 5 other people that are in there trying to find ways to find solutions to all this so we can keep doing things with the high school students. So that's really nice.
I want to tell our president, your president, I'm sorry, that we're working on the all 4 rotaries, and the commitment that we have is doing well, and we're coming up with 2 or 3 solutions, and it's getting very close. So I just want to thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, is it time now for 50-50, or does anybody else have a hand up? Then it's time for 50-50. Right.
And I want to say thank you, John, for letting me know, because that is kind of one of the things there. That is, don't take my paper, because my paper's under there. That would not be good. I thought you guys. I would, here, I'm happy. I got a microphone, get that up. And I would like to have you go to our guest today and have a pick a card. There she is right there for you. So thank you, John, for that update, because what's one of the things that, you know, I meet monthly with the presidents and we're all trying to really work together and come up with, remember the good old duck derby that used to raise so much money for a big community? We're trying to reinvigorate that. So that's what we're really trying to do, is make it so that we have something in between. We're all doing good things and we need to celebrate what each one of us is doing. As a matter of fact, I think, is it the Friday? I know that this weekend, Saturday, is the free gift book giveaway at the library. It's Dolly Parton's birthday. And so they're doing, they took their $500 Rotary grant and bought tons of books. So the kids at either Williams, Wolf Creek, Grants Pass, and Cave Junction will all have the opportunity this Saturday to go in and get a free book. And they're having a party in each one of those places for Dolly. So if you have no kids, make sure they go down to the library this Saturday to get books. So lots of good things going on in our community. Go, Jim.
Just get there by 11:30.
Get there by 11:30 because there's gonna be lots of kids there and you want the best selection of books. We know how that goes. You don't want to be left with the last ones. Okay, so our winning card today is a 2 of spades. So check out your cards. Oh, look at that. Good job, Johnny. Really. So that's great. Okay, and I have a couple thoughts. I sit down really in the evenings and I go through perseverance today was a big one for me because I know myself, probably if you heard about my life in my early background, you probably wouldn't take me as a foster parent, but that wasn't me, my parenting. I learned from that. But I do know about perseverance and I do know what it's like to live in chaos. And I do know a lot of that. So I was kind of touched as I was going through looking at some of these, and I found one that I thought was kind of special. This is just a thought for the day. It always comes through AI, so there's no quote per se. But the thought for the day is, in the heart of chaos lies the seed of courage waiting to bloom. And it's always special because I grew up in a very chaotic home. I spent a lot of time walking outside in the forests to find peace. So that was always kind of special to me. And then I have another quote: resilience is all about being able to overcome the unexpected. Sustainability is the ability to survive. The goal of resilience is to thrive. And that was Genius Casio. I have another Japanese proverb, which to me kind of sums up everything in 6 words. Fall 7 times, stand up 8. So with that, have a wonderful day, a wonderful week. Look forward to today being at the Banner Bank and getting out to Illinois Valley. So thank you all for being here, and I hope I see you next week.